All right, everyone. It's taken me a little while to bother weighing in on this subject. I think it's sort of hit critical mass enough now for me to weigh in. It's gone beyond the realm of any e-drama. It's gone into a conversation about censorship more broadly. It did it first, but a lot of people were approaching it from the angle of grifter, no, shill, and stuff like that. And I don't get involved with that interpersonal drama, not without good reason. Yeah, I could sell my soul and I could algorithmically hijack by habitually talking about other people that make content on the internet. Breadliners like to do this before the algorithm shut them out. Now they're all dead in the water, just like the rest of us. They were good at it for a while. I could do that, but then I would lose all self-respect, and I'm sure that some clankers would be rankled as well. Instead of being clanked, you'd be rankled, and that would be a problem. Here's my final word on the Eliza Bleu issue. And I have not done a deep dive into all of the content about it because there's literally too much of it for me to go through in a goddamn year at this point. That's over the course of a few short weeks, you've generated, thousands and thousands of hours just of live material. No thanks. I don't think so. I oppose censorship. Beyond that, my care in the subject is very topical. It's from the outside looking in. I'm capable of observing people going at each other like raped apes or something like that, and it can be interesting sometimes, depending on if it crosses any thresholds, any red lines that make me uncomfortable. People doxing and swatting each other and stuff. If they're just doing like a blood sports style thing, then it can be amusing. Sort of like the Super Bowl will be amusing for people that would rather not have full audience participation. They'd rather be on their couch with their nachos and hot wings while watching sweaty men in spandex pat each other's asses. Most manly time of the year, by the way, and I will keep making those jokes. I know that they bother some people. That's why I make them. If you can't take a joke, if you can't take the heat, then get out of the clanker kitchen because the heat's coming. As far as Eliza Bleu herself, here's the basic run-up of the claims here. Eliza Bleu, many years ago, claimed she was sex trafficked. And she created like a fairly suggestive music video. I think it's still up on YouTube itself. It was originally on WorldStar and elsewhere. It's like a rap video or hip-hop or whatever the fuck the kids call it these days. You goddamn kids, get off my front lawn. And it was suggestive. I mean, it's not porn. There's no nudity or anything, but it's a suggestive video. And that was for a purpose. Now, she's claiming that she's being, and this is her opinion, digitally raped, effectively, by having a video that she made while she was being, in her words, trafficked, sex trafficked for various purposes. She made the video. It was a paid-for video, so it was consented to being put on the internet. But then later on, she realized in her mind she had been abused at the time, and so she's withdrawing her consent for the video to be there. Now, because the video was paid for, and it's all under TOS and copyright law and so forth, it is not immediately clear that she has any legal leg to stand on. The only support that I could give to that particular notion is that in some cases it depends on the site's TOS. It's not U.S. law. It's not copyright law or anything like that. It's no international convention. It has to do with the TOS of the site. So on Twitter, posting material of another without permission is against the TOS. Therefore, if someone asks you to take the video down and it depicts them in any way, even if they gave the ability for that video to be on another site, you can breach Twitter's TOS. Not the law. There's no lawsuit involved, but you've breached the TOS of the particular site. Now, that does not mean I support that element of TOS generally. There's a big difference between I regret having made this video 5 years ago, take it down, and the video depicts something that is illegal. It depicts me nude or something like, okay, that would be specifically potentially revenge porn. To post that in a malicious manner, knowing that it's humiliating the other person, would probably run afoul of numerous laws, not just in the United States, by the way. This is a music video. Again, it's suggestive, but it was paid for, etc., etc., etc. Did not violate the TOS of the original site that it was put on by Eliza herself. And so, again, the legal side of it falls, I think, utterly short. Now, here's what happened in the run-up to that. Brittany Venti, The Quartering, and a few others began saying that Eliza Bleu was batshit and full of bullshit. And so they were posting the video. But the video's not illegal. And she's mysteriously threatening legal action and saying, well, Twitter will be shielded from this because they're taking the video down. You could argue that she too is violating TOS as part of this by making false claims. If you're making legal claims against someone, you could be insinuating that you're threatening them for something that is not strictly illegal. I oppose the fact that Brittany Venti has been locked out of her account. The quartering was also locked out. He removed his tweet and therefore his function was restored. There are others. There's a laundry list of people who have been removed. I don't support, though, the actual TOS, and therefore I can't support the suspensions or temporary or permanent of any users for posting the material. Now, as far as Eliza Bleu herself, I have no clue about the veracity of her mental state, her claims of having been drugged and stuff, because I'm not interested in that. It's sad if it's true. My condolences if it's true. But that's not really the subject at hand that has anything to do with a content creator like myself. And I am going to look at it from an egotistical perspective here. The big problem that I have is the potential for the expansion of authoritarian TOS on websites to compensate for an issue which it seems has blown up into a mainline conversation, sort of like a Gamergate 2.0 situation. Much like that led to a new wave of censorship, algorithmic distortion and stuff, with collateral damage affecting people like myself who don't really do the gaming video thing at all. We don't read Kotaku and shit like that. We don't, I play, Fallout sometimes. I'm not a hardcore gamer. I'm not building my channel up around like Razor Fist Arcade style content. I do current events and the news and stuff. But every fucking time there's an expansion of censorship, I get fucked anyway. Like when Patreon decided to take down Sargon of Akkad's page for literally no reason whatsoever. I think it was literally because he sent gay porn to a white supremacist. I think was it that, or was it that 2 months before he had used the N-word in rebutting a bunch of white supremacists, and they screenshot it and sent it to Patreon and started an AstroTurf bitch fest because he was ridiculing them. I can't remember which one of those was the reason why he was removed there, and which one was was violation of Twitter TOS at the time. Can't remember. I'm getting him mixed up in my old age. He gets booted from Patreon. What happens? Styx loses $2,000 a month over the course of several months because of that, and Patreon begins to shrink in its usefulness for anyone who does political content and commentary, and so now I'm making less than half of that, actually, on Patreon. I'm using Subscribestar mainly. By the way, link in the description if you want to donate to my cause. Patreon is more of an afterthought, generally, because the site's smaller. They booted off some of the talent on site, and there's an audience overlap. So when someone like The Quartering or Venti or some of these others, that there's audience overlap with my kind of commentary, when they get targeted, whether you conceive of the reasons they're being targeted being legit or not, there's also collateral damage, and it sort of ripples out from there. The closer you're associated with a person when they go down, the more waves that are splashing up on your own deck, so to speak. The ship goes down and the tidal wave comes out, and whoever's closest happens to absorb a big hit. Again, Sargon comes to mind. Lauren Southern getting booted actually as well. In the huge wave of people being downed on Twitter over the last few years prior to Elon Musk doing his Twitter amnesty thing, things were dead in the water for a lot of commentators like me. All of a sudden now, I think since Musk has taken over, I've gained, 25,000 new followers on Twitter. And I'm still being partially shadow banned, but somehow it's at least there's growth happening there, unlike on YouTube, of course. So that's my final and only word. I would say, number one, caution against the authoritarian angle. Sorry that you were trafficked, or you're saying you're trafficked, but that doesn't directly involve a whole lot of people. It just doesn't. Meanwhile, you've got potentially the misuse of site TOS to silence people that are not breaking a law, and it seems Twitter is amenable to that. Well, Twitter's been going in a pretty good direction over the last few months. It would be sad if it were to sort of stall out and the progress that we've got already is the only progress to be made, other than, hey, if you buy Twitter Blue, which I can't even do because I'm not in the right part of the world, you can have longer tweets. Well, that's nifty, although I think that I won't use that function even once I get Twitter Blue and I'm back in the US, or finally figure out how to use NordVPN or something like that, because I'm just fucking lazy. That's great, but I mean, more Twitter amnesty is really what we need. Get Alex Jones back on the site. You'll impress everyone. And piss off a lot of your investors, but who cares? Other people will replace them. That's about all. Peace out.